Today's podcast is brought to you by StrongHeartAcademy.com, where no heart is no victory. We are also brought to you by BJJ To Go. If you want to build your game and learn jiu-jitsu, go to bjjtogo.com. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about for Christmas we went to Disneyland for 5 days, which is pretty crazy. I'm really fortunate. I have really awesome in-laws, and they paid for most of the trip. I had to cover food, but even one of the meals they even covered, which is still cost me quite a bit of money to feed a family of four for 5 days, 6 days, plus gas and all that kind of stuff. But the tickets to Disneyland are crazy expensive, and then the hotel, same thing. So I just thought I would share my experience of having Christmas in Disneyland, and then those days in Disneyland. I never really was into Disneyland, but the older I get, the more I like it, the more I had fun with my kids and they had fun. We went a couple years ago, and my youngest one was just too small. He didn't remember any of it. And I've always said, why bring it? It's almost for my wife, that she's excited to watch my son have fun, but he'll never remember any of this. So I'm kind of all about creating memories more than stuff. And so this time he got to remember, he will remember this. And my oldest one, he remembered some of it, but this was like a refresher for him. And he got to do more rides. So they were both old enough and tall enough to pretty much do every single ride there. There was no rides that were off limits for them. So that was pretty cool. My youngest one is really into roller coasters now. So that was kind of fun. The excitement of him, he was just pumped after every ride. He was he would jump up and down, and he was just super pumped. He's 8.5, and it's just still a fun age, and even my 11-year-old, he had a ton of fun too. And then once we got him on a couple a really smaller roller coaster, then he got more brave to get the other ones. My oldest one needed to be kind of talked into some of them, but my youngest one went on the fast roller coaster. Was in California Adventure Park, which is it's a legit coaster. You're going upside down, and it goes around. Almost a good chunk of that park is the roller coaster itself. It's pretty awesome. Pretty good roller coaster. And it was raining that day. It was raining so hard that it was pelting me in the face. So I might post some pictures, but I'm this. You can kind of see him squinting out of one eye, trying to see what I'm doing. It was still fun, but it was hitting your face with nails or something, or sandpaper, or hail almost. It was rain, but you're going probably, 50, 60 miles an hour on this thing. So the rain is hitting you at 50, 60 miles an hour. So it kind of stings your face a little bit. I mean, I'm not a wimp, so it's fine, but he didn't complain at all. And that day it rained all day long, and we stayed all day. And we had ponchos, but our feet were just soaked. I wore tennis shoes. I didn't have rain boots. My wife she was all I have my boots or whatever. So, but none of us had that. Just her. We were cold feet. It got 50s, not too bad, but I was cold. We're Arizona people, so we got cold at 50s at night. And if there was wind, that gets a little colder. But the ponchos did the job, and I had enough clothes. I had enough stuff, beanie and gloves. I was good to go. It was fun, those were long days. So the first day, I think we started at 8:30, and then we left at 10, 11, because they closed at 10. So then we walked back to the hotel. The hotel was a couple blocks, not too bad, but you're still doing a couple blocks on top of the other walk. But there's no way to get there really unless you're at the Disney hotels. To get the buses can kind of walk you there, I guess, but the cost isn't I'm not sure that's worth it. And even the hotel, I'm sure we stayed in was pretty pricey for 5 days, with that many rooms. So, um, but I didn't mind. It's I'm in pretty good shape. So my legs are strong. My feet didn't bother me. My knee was starting to bother me because of a knee injury. Just standing in lines for like 12 hours a day. Some of the days were like 14, 15 hours a day. Later on, we started saying, hey, look, we're going to show up at 12. When we went to Disneyland, that's open till 12 at night. So we went at 12 in the afternoon. We'd leave at 12 at night. It's still 12 hours. I mean, it's not like you're not there. And I found that, Disneyland, you can get on any ride at around 11 o'clock in 20 minutes or less. And then the last day we were there, my brother-in-law bought us Genie pass, and it's kind of like their old school fast pass, but they don't call it that anymore. It's like a Genie, which is awesome, but you got to pay per ticket $20. So if there's 4 of you, that's $80 per day. So we did it one day. He paid for it. That was super nice of him for Christmas on Christmas Day. So then we were like getting into lines in like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It was so much. You kind of pick the times. They have a cool app actually that'll show you the whole park, where the bathrooms are. You're looking for bathrooms, where food is. You order almost all your food on the app now. And it's pretty cool. I wanted to pay cash a lot of stuff, but they didn't take cash a lot of things. You had to pay. They wanted to do like no transactions. Just show up to the window, pick up your food, which is kind of cool too. We did couple nicer restaurants, and all the food at Disneyland was actually pretty good. They give you small portions. It's a fortune, but it's decent food. Only one day, I think actually Christmas, we had probably the worst food. It was more like fast food. We did it the Hungry Grizzly or whatever, Hungry Bear. And it was like drive-through food. But whatever, it's fine. I was just starving at that point. Burning so many calories just walking all day long. A couple of things that I noticed about this time was how many people in wheelchairs, like the scooters, not wheelchairs, those scooters that go everywhere. And man, it's hard to get around in those. My in-laws had them, but my in-laws are in their 70s. And I didn't blame them. They're like 75 and 71, 3 or something like that. And so 12 hours for that, when you're that old and walking and everywhere, that's crazy hard. And I was tired, and I'm, in great shape. So I didn't blame them, but there was a lot of people, like, I think they're just overweight and they just wanted to, like, they're just overweight. So they can't walk, but like they should be walking because they're overweight. And, that, and you go, oh, well, maybe they have heart problems, but maybe they have heart problems because they're overweight, and they're not taking care of themselves. And you would see them and they have the basket in front and they would be like full of sodas. It's like, okay, you're already overweight and like you're just carrying these big jugs of soda. That was cool too about Disneyland. They let you bring in food. And they didn't care if it was sealed or not either. A lot of places, for whatever reason, they're like, oh, it has to be. I've been to concerts that way. You can bring water, but it has to be sealed. You can't unseal. I don't know why. Disneyland was like, it's fine. They did search your bags, but it's like for weapons, for safety purposes. But food, they allowed you. So I brought a ton of water. Brought a couple of cases of water. So we would bring a bunch of water every day because a bottle of water is $4 there. If you have a family of 4 and you're drinking 3 or 4 of those a day, you could spend crazy money just to bottle water. So that was kind of and whenever I go on vacation, I always bring a case of water because I'm always thirsty. And if you drink the water in the hotel, bottled water, that's $1 billion too. And the sink water is always disgusting, especially in California. It's all chlorinated, weird ass water. So I don't like to do that. I usually bring my water. But the little go-kart things or the little scooters were trip, like how many people were in them and like how many people were, even the people that weren't in scooters, like so many people were overweight and obese. And it was like, I mean, I've known that for years, but like, now it's like crazy the amount of people. Like I would say like 60-70% of everyone at least has a big gut. Maybe they're not 300 pounds, but they're like 5'8", 200 something. Like at 5'8", you shouldn't be 200 unless you're super strong or something like that. Even that, like that's thick. So I don't know. It was just like, man, America is pretty unhealthy. Shouldn't be a shock at all, but it was a little bit to me. For whatever reason, I always notice those type of things. But everyone was fairly friendly. When we were in line, I didn't feel like people were rude. Some people, but not. I mean, it was like 50,000 people there a day. So you would think also that maybe it wasn't crowded. No, it was crowded. It was super crowded. And they said they reduced it for COVID, but my wife thinks they did. I don't think they did. It seemed like a lot of people there, a lot of people. I did like having the tickets on the phone, on the app was cool. You just scan it. You can go in and out. It's pretty easy. And buying everything on the app was cool. Seeing all the locations, all the maps on your phone was pretty cool. It works pretty well. You can get that little Genie Pass thing. You just scan that at like the lines, and you go. They call the Lightning line. The Lightning line, you get to cut in front of everyone else, but you paid for it. So, the longest line we stayed in was It's a Small World. We got in the line. It was like 25 minutes, I think it said. We're like, whoa, cool. It turned out almost 2 hours, and that's like maybe an hour and 45 minutes, but it was crazy. But my wife really wanted to see it because they did it for Christmas. So, it's been the same ride forever from like the 50s or something. But they did it up for Christmas, so it was really cool looking. And then at night, it was beautiful. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful with the lights, the Christmas lights, and every hour they do like the Small World show in front of it, and it was like with lasers shooting on the screen and the lights. I took a picture with our family in front of it, but doesn't do it justice. And then I didn't take a picture or video of the light show. I just enjoyed it instead of always filming everything. I thought it was really cool. Like I never liked It's a Small World, but it's beautiful, like the way they do it. It's really cool. And then what else to talk about? Oh, we went on the Star Wars thing. So the last time we were there, a couple years ago, 4 years ago, they were building it, but it wasn't done. And they only have 2 rides in the whole Star Wars area, but they were pretty cool rides. I mean, the Rise of the Resistance, I think it's called, was one of the coolest rides I've ever been on. And they put you in these different rooms and different things happen. And I don't want to give away the ride, but I highly recommend it. If you go to Disneyland, go on that ride. It's like you're in a movie. If you kind of remember Star Tours, they still have that. We did that too. I showed the kids. They updated that a little bit, but this is like that on steroids, or like whatever, like by 1,000 times better. And then they had another ride that's like Star Tours that you get to control. There's seats like 6 of you, and then you control the craft, and it's moving all around. You feel it moving like a simulator, and then you get to shoot 2 people, the gunners, 2 people, the pilots, and 2 people that they call engineers. They could add a little bit, I think, to that, but it's a cool concept. And then just the Star Wars area is cool. It looks like Tatooine, I think that's it, and it looks like you're walking in Star Wars, like in Tatooine. And they have full-size ships, like they have the what is it called? Oh man, my nerd friends will get after me. The Millennium Falcon. The Millennium Falcon full-size ship. And, you can go under it, around it. You can't go inside it, but that would be cool if they did that. But when you're in the building for the line for one of the rides, I think it's the Smuggler's Ride or something like that, you can see on top of it. Like, I mean, it's legit looking. It looks real. And they have a number of ships around like that. And then, they have a place where you can buy lightsabers for like $1 billion, and those are pretty cool. Everyone's like walking around the lightsabers. It was cool. It was cool, and that whole area, they can do a lot with it. And I think they're going to add more rides. They have space to add rides in there. And so I think, just with COVID and everything, they probably put the kibosh on like more rides for a little bit, trying to generate some money because they lost so much money being closed for like a year or whatever it was. And I'm also impressed with like all the employees at Disneyland, are awesome. Like super friendly. They're all day saying the same thing over and over again, but they're always have like they're enthusiastic and like don't never seem like they hate their job. You do see like now people like with just younger generation with like piercings and green hair and stuff, but whatever, like they're still super friendly and they're not like super emo and like, what do you want? They just seem like happy to be there, and everyone was like everyone that worked there was like just awesome. Everyone said Merry Christmas on Christmas was cool. And we stayed till midnight the night before too, on Friday. And at midnight they were saying Merry Christmas to everyone because it's Christmas morning. And then the next day I would try to say Merry Christmas to every person working. They're working on Christmas at Disneyland, 12-hour day. And I'm sure they're paid well, but I was just thankful for that they were there and not just with a great attitude, just great attitude. And that energy is great, when you're there and you're like standing in line and you're like tired and, you don't want some crappy guy, get in there, like hurry up. You don't want that kind of attitude. I thought it was awesome. The one criticism for Disneyland I think they should work on is their bathrooms. Their bathrooms they have never updated. Now, you can see in the new Star Wars area, they updated that bathroom. It's huge. The water, like there's no lines. Like a bunch of bathrooms are like lines to use a bathroom, and they stunk and they were like gross. I'm like, Disneyland was so clean when we were there. That's the other thing. Last time I was there, it was kind of run down. I was like, man, they're not taking care of this place. This place, everything was like so nice. Everything was done well. I've always been fascinated by like the how they maintain it. It closes. You never see people working on the place. You see people cleaning up trash, but like it's spotless. And all the, I did landscaping for years. There's so many bushes and it's manicured. So someone comes in at like midnight or 12:30 and starts trimming that place and maintaining and planting and everything you have to do is, and then it opens up at 8 a.m. or 8:30. So you have 8 hours they must have an army that comes in and just cleans that place. But I just feel like they should do bathrooms, like add bathrooms and make them better. Like, I don't know why you can't, spend a little bit of money on a bathroom. It's not like it costs you $1 billion. You have all these bathrooms and just like not done well. And I think that they just never came up with the numbers. You're adding more people to your park, but you're not adding facilities for it, which is crazy to me. That would be like one of the few criticisms I'd say of Disneyland. And then lines, I always thought they should have seats. Like I noticed in Star Wars ride, they had on the line places you can sit if you're stuck in line, which is kind of cool. But the old lines, they don't have that. You're just standing on concrete and going upstairs, downstairs, because they want to weave you around. I get it. I totally get it. And they'll extend lines and shorten lines with ropes and things. The newer ones were like stationary ride. Like they didn't have a lot of rope stuff. It was like metal dividers. And when you're in the line, things are happening at the Star Wars area where it's like a little bit more entertaining. Where you're not just sitting in line doing nothing. A lot of people play these games. I downloaded one game that I was playing with the boys, like a trivia game. They have these trivia ones that people pull above their head and flick. And we saw that the last time. I still don't know what that is. I told myself I was going to do it this time. I never did. I found like a cheap little free app. There was just like just to keep the boys occupied when they're in line, when they're bored out of their minds. And so I'm not just staring at my phone and ignoring them. I wanted to interact with them. I taught my boys the slap game and knuckles, and that was probably a mistake. They had fun with it. I was play with them, and you just smack the hands. I don't know if you remember that game, but I taught them that game also. So we played that, and that was probably a mistake because they'll probably pay me back when they start getting faster. Just beat my hands up and knuckles up. So that was kind of fun. It's always fun to teach your kids things that you did as a kid, and then they actually appreciate it. Because sometimes they're like, that's old people stuff. Why would I do that? But this was a fun thing that we did as a family, and they stayed up way past their bedtime every night, and hopefully they appreciated it, and they had a great time. I had a great time, and even for all my complaints, I'm just a complainer sometimes, I had a great time. I really did. I don't think I would want to go ever again for 5 days. 2 days I think is good. 1 day at California Adventure, 1 day at Disney, and then just pay for the genie. That would cover the cost of the other days. I think I would rather do like a day at the beach or something, or a day somewhere else in California than 5 days. Because by like the last day, Christmas, because we left Sunday after Christmas, we've already done all the rides, and we did them multiple times. And twice is fine, but we don't need to do 3-4 times. Like, okay, I get the ride. It's like cool. I did get to go to Space Mountain a lot, which is fun. It's my favorite ride. And Tomorrowland. A couple people asked me like, what's Space Mountain? I'm like, that's like one of the most famous rides at Disneyland. It's in Tomorrowland. It's like in the dark, and it's like they have like tiny lights, but you can't see, so it's like a full-on roller coaster indoors in the dark. And I've always thought it was like one of the coolest rides. They updated that ride too. Even though it's like old and new, it's kind of cool the way they did it, I thought. But anyway, that's my trip to Disneyland. I had fun. This is my hat actually from the last time I went. I thought it was cool. I don't think I have anything else to share with it. I appreciate everyone that held down the fort at Strong Heart, that kept the open mats going, and everyone seemed to have fun, and no one got hurt, and it didn't burn down, so I'm happy about that. And I'm happy to be back and ready for the new year. I'm excited for what's in store for Strongheart. So hopefully you enjoy this one. Please share and subscribe. I don't ask that enough, but I need people to follow, or we probably won't do this. So thanks. Peace.
Let me talk for just a second, help me feel that sense of rhythm. Find the meanings in our bearings and discover this position as a stage along the way. Another rung to the ladder, either stalling or you're climbing, and I'd rather beat the ladder. Instead of getting fatter, let the footsteps resume naturally.